Hello, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to Unity in Lower Lake, California. And we are very, very fortunate this time to have with us Dr. Will Tuttle. But what we ask of you is please mute your sound. And if you will do that right now, everyone mute, then we will go ahead and we will have Will Tuttle give us the opening prayer song. Thank you, Will. Oh, I didn't introduce you very well.
Thank you, Barbara. So let's take a moment now and just give thanks for this precious opportunity that we have to be gathered here together in spirit. In the sacred space of our own minds and hearts. And we give thanks for the infinite love, the source of our life, the source of all life, knowing that every act and every unfoldment in our life is ultimately inspired by the deep yearning within us to awaken to the truth that we are, as was beautifully manifested by Jesus, the great example of love and truth. And we give thanks knowing that this Unity ministry here in California is opening to the highest good and wisdom and passing that through to everyone who's touched by these words and this music in any way, through the power and through the presence of the infinite indwelling Christ truth. We give thanks, knowing this is so, and so it is.
Just beautiful, so beautiful, Will. Thank you so much. Let us take a deep breath. And I would like to read a few things that that are about our Unity Church in Lower Lake. First, I'd like to begin with the invocation affirmation. And this is who we are. There is only one presence and one power active in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And then there is only one presence and one power active in Unity Clear Lake Center, God the good, omnipotent. And finally, there is only one presence and one power active in our world, God the good, omnipotent. And the basic foundation of unity is the 5 basic ideas that, number 1, God is absolute good, everywhere present. Number 2, human beings have a spark of the divine within them, the Christ consciousness within. Therefore, they are inherently good. Number 3, human beings create their experience by the activity of their thinking. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Number 4, prayer is the process that affirms our connection with God mind and brings forth wisdom, healing, and everything good. And then finally, knowing and understanding universal laws, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. And we would like to our welcome back, Dr. Tuttle, to play for us another song.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, so this is high summer, and it's been pretty warm here in Lake County the last few weeks. See it kind of cooling off today a little bit, but I thought I'd like to play a piece of original music called Sky High because the sky is so beautiful and inspires us, I think, uh, understanding that there's more to life than merely the material level. And that when we look into the sky during the day and we see the infinite blue and the sun, and at night we see the stars, that we're really looking into our own consciousness, which is also infinite. And
Mhm.
so this is Sky High, dedicated to the source of all life and also to the beings that we perhaps don't see, but they are with us here also as well.
Wow. Wow, 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 Will. Okay. The daily word. The daily word for today, divine order. Yes. On July the 14th, During times of uncertainty, I trust divine order. How often have I felt disappointed when something did not work out as I had planned or hoped, only to discover a blessing I had not anticipated? Understanding that a seeming obstacle may actually be an unrecognized opportunity, I resist the temptation to wonder why the setback is happening. Instead, I pray, asking what is mine to do. I may receive guidance to wait for a better time to pursue my plan, or perhaps an insight will arise out of what appeared to be failure, showing me a way forward that will accomplish even greater good. Affirming divine order keeps me patient and trusting in right outcomes and in all situations. And from 1 Corinthians 13:12, for now we see in a mirror dimly, that then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. Wow. And so, Will, um, well, Dr. Will Tuttle continues to present lectures and concerts and workshops throughout North America and Europe. Going to
A
Europe
little
these
bit.
days?
We're not,
A little bit.
we're not traveling as like we used to. We used to do a lot of traveling all over the world, but yeah, up until a couple of years ago.
Well, yes, I know. And you certainly are traveling. My recording here keeps showing low something or other. So if it goes out, Patricia's still on there. But hopefully, of course. So now this divine order, that daily word, oh my goodness. I think it leads right into your talk as you are going to illuminate us on how to trust in right outcomes in all situations. Will, I'm going to mute myself and enjoy your talk. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Barbara. And yes, so I'd like to give a talk. We'll give a talk today for the service about the 7 keys to healthy living and to the idea is wisdom, spiritual wisdom, and connecting with our inner wisdom, and the keys to healthy living and spiritual wisdom really come back a lot, actually, to what Barbara was just talking about earlier from the Daily Word, and having a framework within ourselves to see the best in ourselves and in others. So I'd like to go into that though with a short meditation. So as you know, I'm just sitting here right at our grand piano. I'll switch it just for a second so you can see. Maybe this might be fun just to do. But I like this picture better. But this is the this is me here, so you can see. But anyway, I'll switch it back. But we're here, not too far away from Lower Lake, and just a little bit south, and in our Karuna temple, our home temple, where we have our Karuna food forest, and we're so honored, really, to be able to be part of the Unity movement all these years, the last probably 40 years. And so we'd like to go ahead and continue on now, as I said, with the meditation time. So let's, everyone, just take a moment and let's connect with our breathing. The breath is always present. As long as we are functioning on this planet, we are breathing. And the breath is a wonderful ally to help bring us back to this present moment. So with every exhalation, we allow ourselves to just let go of any thoughts of the past or the future. arriving right here. The only holy moment is right now. Abiding in our true home, in the inner sanctuary, where we dwell always in unity, with the love and power and peace and joy and infinite life that are our true nature. We give thanks for this wonderful ministry of unity based here in Lake County in Northern California. We give thanks for this community. We give thanks for all of the teachers in our life. We give thanks to all who support our teachers and our community, for all of our loved ones, for the whole web of life here. We give thanks for all of the teachings of all the world's wisdom traditions that help us to turn our mind away from the delusion of separateness to the truth of the infinite interconnectedness of all life. Abiding in our heart, the source of wisdom, of divine guidance, the inner guidance system that we all have that opens up the doorway to living our unique life. And we give thanks knowing that the light shining at the very heart of the universe is shining now in our heart, in every cell of our being, bringing every dimension of our life into harmony, into alignment with our purpose, with our mission for this lifetime, in alignment with the inherent joy and beauty and abundance of our true nature. And we give thanks knowing that every day we are making progress in our mission and in our purpose, in our spiritual life. We just allow the music now for a moment to deepen our connection with the infinite being, the source of our life, and with our mission. And so we give thanks for this silence. The silence that gives rise to the music, the silence that gives rise to all of the melodies that we see all around us. That every living being is a melody, and that we ourselves are a melody. arising from silence and returning to silence. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free and at peace. And may we continue to work together to build a more enlightened society, a world that cares for everyone and that reflects the inner Christ, the truth of being, the truth of love as the only power. We give thanks knowing this is so, and so it is. Thank you, everyone, for joining together in our meditation time, and I'm delighted that we have a few minutes to talk about some keys that we have, each one of us, at our disposal to clarify our minds, to raise our vibratory level, to come into more radiant health on every level, and to contribute to the awakening of our society, to the healing of our world. I just released a brand new book. This is a picture of it here. Food for Freedom. You can maybe see it. Food for Freedom. And this book has in it some of these ideas, and it's a foundation. But I say in this new book that just came out that there's a companion book that's coming out very soon. Actually, it's finished probably in a month. It'll be out. It's called The World Peace Way, and the subtitle is The 6 Keys to Healthy Living and a Healthy Society, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's six keys. But today we're going to talk about 7, and it's sort of the main ideas in this new book. And it's a lot of material. It's about 150-page book, and I'm going to condense it now into maybe a few minutes. But maybe in future talks here at Unity, we can go into some of these more in depth because there's so much to cover. There's really a lot to cover. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to go through the 7, and what they are. The first one is nutrition, nourishment, and the second one is also nutrition. So there's 2 kinds of nutrition. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore talked about this also. It's not only what we're eating physically, but it's also what we're reading and what we're thinking. That's also nutrition. We're actually eating. So those are the first 2. And I want to talk a little bit about them on a practical level, and then we'll go into the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. So the first 2 are about nutrition or diet. Diet is a neat word. It's an old Greek word that means way of life or way of living. So the thing about spirituality, and one of the reasons I love Unity, actually, is that Unity is not just the church of Christianity, it's a church of practical Christianity. So the whole idea is, okay, you're spiritual, but like, how do you live your life? How do you live your life? How do we live our lives? That's the key thing. So all of us, I assume, are eating, right? We're eating like physical food. And so I want to make a point here that we have to be proactive. I mean, I think we're called, it's maybe a better way to say it, we're called, if we're really serious about living a spiritual life and being healthy and having plenty of good energy, because it's very difficult to have a spiritual life and to contribute to our society if we can't get out of bed in the morning and we have no energy and we're just dragging ourselves through and we have brain fog and all these things. So we have to be proactive to take good care of this instrument. This is waving to you, this instrument. This is not who we are, but this is the instrument that we work through. What we are is an infinite spiritual being that was never born and will never die, but we function through a physical body. So we have to understand something. I don't mean to give any kind of what's the best word to say here? Not to make any fear. I guess that's the idea. But we have to realize that if we're not careful, are being poisoned. There's a lot of poison. There's a lot of chemicals, right? I mean, there's over 80,000 chemicals that human beings have created in the last 100 years, and a lot of them are toxic. Today we're living our lives, and these toxins are in the food, the water, and the air, and they can harm us. They can cause all kinds of hormone disruption and neurodegenerative disease and cancer and all kinds of problems. So I would suggest, this is a practical suggestion, to be really conscious about your food choices and your water and your air. I mean, any way we bring into this body, be conscious. So I recommend doing research on this. What Madeline and I have been doing now for over 40 years is a totally plant-based, because if we're eating plants, we're not concentrating toxins. Toxins concentrate as soon as, because animals eat hundreds of plants to get one. There's like 20 pounds of grain in 1 pound of animal flesh, for example, especially if it's cows or pigs. But anyway, the idea is that if we eat lower on the food chain, the food is cleaner. There's also less suffering of animals and so forth. So organic and whole foods, right? So all these things, it's good to just read labels. Try not to buy foods that have preservatives and pesticide residues and genetically engineered ingredients and all these things, because we have to understand that there's no money in very healthy people. Like here I am, I have not been to a doctor since 1972. I haven't been to the drugstore. They haven't made any money on me in 50 years. And I think it's nothing that strange. It's just the idea is be proactive, take responsibility for the quality of our food and water and our health. So water very often has a lot of toxic chemicals. So have a good filter, right? I mean, and same thing with air. I mean, we have really good air in Lake County, but wherever you live, if there's purifiers you can get for air. There's a lot of indoor pollution, and we're breathing like we might eat maybe a gallon of food a day and maybe 2 gallons of water, but it's 11,000 gallons of air, right? So we have to really just be conscious about that and breathe. Really learn to breathe. Most people in our society, we really don't breathe properly. We're breathing very shallow most of the time. So really take time to breathe deeply and take in the life force of the breath, of air and fresh air, and have the windows open as much as you can to get fresh air or get outside. We spend most of our time outside, actually. So be proactive about food and water and air, and also about your cooking pans. Most people don't, we spend, thousands of dollars on tools for the guys down in the shop. And then the women, in the kitchen, we spend $10 on a pan. We think that's too much. We spent already. So we discovered a long time ago is aluminum, Teflon, even Pyrex, even stainless steel, cast iron, all of these things are leaching heavy metals into the food. So it's good to buy some good pans, surgical steel pans. They're more expensive, maybe a couple $100, but you can give them to your grandchildren and your great grandchildren. I mean, they last forever. We've had ours for 35 years or 30 years, and they look like new. And they don't leach, because we've met people who have chronic disease, and once they changed their pans, the disease went away. So pans are important. Water is important. Food, again, and that's another thing. I'll just finally say that whole foods, or in other words, try not to buy things that came out of a factory. Go to your local farmer's market, or if you can grow it yourself, that's even better. Grow sprouts. Get active in good food. So that's all. That's physical nutrition: food, water, air, breathe, drink. Get plenty of water. We put our water through a filter. We also put it through a structurizer. A water structurer actually creates a vortex, and the water has energy, because when we pass water through all these tubes and pipes, it's not that bioavailable. So just the basic idea is to ask questions. Don't just take everything for granted. And then another thing I'll stop there. That's nutrition on the outer level. Then the second kind of nutrition is what we're taking into our brain, into our mind, into our consciousness. When I was at the farm in Tennessee, the hippies always had a saying, which was, guard your gourd. This is the gourd, right? Guard your gourd. In other words, don't read or partake of toxic movies, recordings, music, books, articles, things that are full of fear and negativity. We are being bombarded with fear. They discovered a long time ago, like on the evening news, if you ramp up fear more, then the advertisers will make more money on their ads because when people are afraid, they buy more. You know, it's a natural tendency. We get panicked and we get fidgety and we just want to buy something for security. And so we are being deliberately bombarded with a lot of, I call it fear porn, you know, a lot of fear. So it's important to uh, be conscious about the media we're taking in, how it's affecting us, and how how much it illuminates our consciousness. Reading spiritual books is really important. And there's three stages of reading spiritual books. The first is to study them and find spiritual books that have, I think, of authentic spiritual teachers. And you're the judge of that. Your inner wisdom will guide you. Study the teachings, and then contemplate the teachings, and then practice them. These three things we need to do all three. And then also the other thing is to just be aware of our conversations. That's another way that we are nourishing ourselves is through our interactions and through our conversations. And gossip, of course, and these kinds of things, that saying bad things about other people are always harmful to ourselves and to others. So nutrition is a huge one. And like I say, we're living in a society that in many ways is deliberately poisoning us with not only physical toxins, but also with mental and emotional poisons. We're being encouraged to be greedy. Like the idea is if we could just have more money, we'd be happier. You know, our happiness comes from ourselves. It doesn't come from anybody else. It comes from within us. So this whole idea that we need something outside of us to be happy, or that we should envy other people, that if we only had what they had, we'd be happier, or all these ideas, that we're being programmed all the time to have convenience. We always want comfort and convenience. And again, that disconnects us from nature. It reduces our connection with the sun. The sun is an important part of nutrition also, the sun and the wind, but especially the air, but the sun. We're being told that the sun is dangerous. And the sun is not dangerous. It's really our friend, especially if we're eating trans fats. That's the problem. If we're eating toxic food, then the sun, we have a lot of free radicals in our blood, and then it can cause problems. But if we're eating a healthy diet, the sun is a very important ally for health. We're in the sun all the time. So anyway, those are the first two, nutrition. And then the third one is meditation. And I could talk a lot about meditation, but I just want to say that if we want to have radiant physical health, our body is created by our mind. Our body and mind are not separate. Our body is capable of healing anything, but it's really our mind, our mental and emotional state, our consciousness, that creates the condition of our body. It is a vehicle, so if we're eating toxic foods and so forth, that will have an impact. But the biggest impact is really the quality of our consciousness. So I highly recommend not only being proactive in choosing whole, organic, plant-sourced foods, healthy water and air and sun, and reading material and media, all that, but also silence, taking time every day to enter silence. Just have silence as your best friend. It's really where we can reflect and we can look into the source of what we are and inquire. Make a regular practice of inquiring into what is it? Who am I? What is this being? What are we? Does anyone really know what we actually are? We are not going to figure it out with our mental, intellectual, analytical, logical capacity or by our memory, everything we've accumulated. It's not going to get us there. What's going to get us there is inner silence, to learn to turn the light of the mind around instead of always looking outside, trying to change the outside world and be so outwardly focused all the time, to turn the mind around and look within. And when we do that, we have the possibility of actually contacting the deeper levels of consciousness, and out of that flow real health and wisdom. So
Carlos, I need to
that's
check audio.
the key for the
That's
third
really
one
talking.
is meditation, and the idea is to just basically have a discipline where no matter what is going on in the outer world, we take time. I do it every morning, no matter what. Like I've been doing this for I started meditating in 1975, so whatever that is, that's about 49 years, I guess. And I haven't missed a day. I just do it. It's like brushing your teeth or something. So just take time every day to. It's not only for therapy in a sense or hygiene, mental hygiene, but it's also uh, to give a foundation to your spirituality. There's no spirituality if we're not connected to our inner guidance system. And the main way we connect to the inner guidance system is through inner silence and learning to become friends with our mind. Our mind is potentially our best friend. Having a mind that's sharp and clear and flexible and aware is a delight. It's so fantastic. But our mind can be our worst enemy. It can make us afraid and jealous and all kinds of things and miserable and make everybody around us miserable. It's up to us how we use this instrument of our mind, and it's meditation, broadly defined, being able to have a mind that's focused instead of being scattered all over the place. So train the mind to be focused and relaxed and present, and you have become friends with your mind and learn. We can learn about ourselves from ourselves. So that's the third one. The fourth, how we doing? I got a few more minutes. So the fourth one is, let me think. Fourth one is relationship. A lot of our wisdom and our value and our purpose and our health is related to our relationships with other people. We're here on this earth to relate. We are related. We're all related. And I've seen it so many times. Madeline and I spend 2 months every year at the premier health center in the United States. It's called Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, Florida. And we're there giving lectures and concerts and helping people to connect with and people come with cancer and diabetes and heart disease and obesity and arthritis and all this stuff. And they leave in 3 or 4 weeks. They're off their cancer medication. They're off their diabetes medication. They're off their heart blood pressure medication. They've lost 20 pounds, whatever. It really works, but it's what I'm saying. It's a totally whole, organic, plant-based foods, lots of inner work and meditation, a lot of exercise and fresh air and sunshine and so forth. And so, and relationships is a big part of it. We see people that are there, and we probably know that in our own life, who manifest cancers or other problems because they're angry. They've never forgiven their mother or their father or their former spouse or whatever it is. And so when we hold anger or frustration or these unresolved conflicts, then it's going to manifest in our outer body. It will, it's absolutely going to manifest. It will as some kind of a symptom because the whole idea is to wake up. I remember when I was on a meditation retreat, I was all by myself up in Oregon in the woods in a tiny meditation cabin just doing uh, meditation practice for quite a few months. And I got a terrible pain in my back one morning or one evening. And I wondered why I had this pain in my back and I hoped it would go away. And then I meditated the next morning and I heard a voice inside of me and it said, a pain in the body is a pain in the mind. And then I worked with that idea and I realized that through all the meditation work I was doing, there was a little boy inside of me that started out really happy, but at one point got afraid and was afraid to reach out to life. And now it was coming up to be healed. So I was manifesting this pain in my back to help me to recognize that I still was afraid to reach out to life, because it always hurt when I reached forward, when I bent forward. And so then I worked with that, and I connected with the inner wisdom that what I am and what the world is not separate. We are the world, and we can reach out with love and confidence, and the pain went away instantly. We can heal anything when we heal our consciousness. And that's the underlying thing. When we have a manifestation of some kind of symptom in our body, it's always got a source in our consciousness. So to be healthy, to have a healthy body and mind and affairs, again, be proactive about the quality of our relationships. Be loving with other people. That's the main thing. Just tr- our words and our thoughts and our actions have a huge impact. And everybody that we ever see is having problems, they're having difficulties, and we can smile and we can help them. We don't have to do any major thing, but we can always be kind and loving and help other people. And when we do that, our relationships are improved and our relationships can be harmonious in general when we are in harmony with ourselves and don't project on other people, but actually take responsibility for the quality of our relationships and don't expect other people to be positive. We have to be the one that's positive and see the best in others. It's really about being loving and seeing the best in others because we're only here for a short time on this earth and time goes by very quickly. And I still have a few more minutes. Okay, so that was number four. No, that was number four. So we have nutrition, inner and outer, and we have meditation. We have relationships. The fifth one is is movement and exercise. So again, this physical body is made to move, and we live in a society where we don't move that much anymore. And a lot of people are unhealthy and unhappy and have disconnected from their inner wisdom because of that. It's good to be able to be silent and sit still and not fidget and just be at peace. That's great. But also, it's good to be active. So, in my new book, The World Peace Way, I talk a lot about movement and how in many ways our movements are restricted. We're taught not to stretch, not to yawn. It's good to stretch and yawn. We're taught to uh, part of it is we're just raised with furniture around all the time. I mean, I was too. I was sitting in chairs and tables, and we put little kids in these sitting with their legs dangling down in these chairs, and they have to sit still on a wooden chair and a desk, and it's really terrible for our back. Our back is back, and our whole neck is forward, and it just throws everything out of kilter. And then we wear high heel shoes, and we do all kinds of things that are really hard on our body. We really do. I was so fortunate that I left home right after college and I ended up living in Asian meditation centers where there was no furniture. We just did everything on the floor. I had cushions on the floor. So we have no furniture in our house. I mean, we have the piano. The only bench I have, the only time I sit is I'm sitting on this piano bench. The rest of the time, my desk is on the floor. Our dining room table's on the floor. Everything's on the floor. Because that's how people always lived. They were sitting down, getting up, sitting down, getting up and down off the floor. So you're always getting exercise. You're staying limber. You're moving and everything. The more we can learn to just get limber, to squat and to move and um, connect with nature, take our shoes off, be barefoot now and then, right? And connect with nature really is important, but movement in general. So there's different types of movement. This is a whole gigantic topic. But I think it's good to find things that you are drawn to that are helpful, like yoga, for example, is an ancient wisdom tradition, getting in different postures to build flexibility and strength and balance. It's great. Madeline and I both do yoga every day. There's things like Tai Chi and Qigong. I also do that every day. It's basically moving, generating energy, the chi energy, moving the chi energy. It's really good to understand that our physical body is not just physical, it's also got energy centers. There's the seven energy centers, the chakras, and so forth, to understand how that all works. And to understand that when we let the energy flow in our body, then our mind is more clear. When our mind is more clear, our body is more flexible and happy. But we can do things to help that. It's also good to do aerobic exercise, to do some swimming, walking, jogging, really get our body moving and do it in a fun way. Madeline does extra striding. So it's kind of like cross-country skiing in a way, using your arms and your legs together. But find something that works for you because movement is very important. They found that, like, if people are depressed, it works actually better if they exercise than if they take depression medications. I mean, it's more effective, and you don't have all the terrible side effects. So just raise your hands and look up at the sky and the sun and say thank you, right? Every morning. I mean, we are so blessed. We don't realize how blessed we are to be on this beautiful earth and to be able to move and to celebrate the ability that we have to move our physical body. So that's a really important one. So that's number five. So we only have two left. Number six is nature. And this is hugely important. The main reason human beings are sick is because we're disconnected from nature. Not only physically sick, but mentally sick and spiritually sick. So anything you can do to just get out into the woods or the forest or the beach or the pond or the stream or the river or the sun and the moon and the sky and the birds and the trees, there's so much beauty and wisdom in our body and in our connection with nature. Our body, this is nature, we are. And we end up living in these boxes and artificial color and lighting and temperatures and sound, and we want everything to be so comfortable, and pretty soon we just set the thermostat and it's always the same thing, and if it goes 3 degrees hotter or colder, we're miserable. I mean, we need to really understand that we become slaves of technology, that our technology that we love so much has disconnected us from nature, and that has caused enormous amount of illness. And then the technology comes in with all these toxic pharmaceutical drugs that keep us even farther from nature. And then we have our cell phones and we're looking at all the time instead of looking at what's really around us. And so this disconnected from nature, again, we are responsible. Don't expect someone else to do it. Each one of us as an individual can be proactive in connecting with nature ourselves, however we like to do that. Madeline and I, we have a garden, we're out there working with the plants, and just find a way that for you is helpful. Besides, on a daily basis, it's a good idea also if you can maybe take a day or a whole day or a whole week or something and go camping or get out hiking and get closer to nature. Nature is a great healer, the great source of wisdom, and the Buddha was enlightened under a tree, and that's not by accident. I mean, when we connect with the energy vortexes of trees and of physical places on Earth, we're connecting with our true nature. The Earth has so much to teach us. And so that's number six. The last one, number seven, is creativity. And again, creativity and health and wisdom go all together. It's really our opening up to our intuition. And so whatever we find is a outlet for creativity, if it's music or art or dancing or writing or running around, speaking, journaling, handcrafts, cooking, there's so many things, everything. Life is creative. I mean, we get up in the morning, we create our life. We are creators. We're made in the image and likeness of the divine, what? Creator. So we are creative. If we're not being creative, we're going to be very unhappy and we're going to be addicted to all kinds of drugs, because if we're not being creative, we're not fulfilling our mission. So if we can reconnect with our creative power, then we begin to reconnect with the source of our life. And the other thing I'll just close with here is, again, like I said earlier from the very beginning, we have to understand, like Krishnamurti reminded us, it's not a good idea to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So we don't want to be well adjusted and eat the toxic food and drink the toxic Coke and smoke the toxic cigarettes and take all the toxic drugs. That's being well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And also the art and the music and the architecture in our society most of it's toxic. Don't listen to it. I mean, most of this music, it's really negative. The art nowadays, the modern art, I mean, it's all demeaning. Whenever I play the piano or whenever I give a concert, I always take a moment as the artist to know that what I'm doing is for the highest good of everyone and to bless all beings through the vibration. And so music and art are about raising our vibration to a higher level. There's an old saying, in the ancient wisdom traditions, they understood this. The ancient Greeks, like Plato, talked about how the different modes affect us emotionally. And in China, they were wondering if the people out in the villages were happy or not, or whatever. They would just send the ministers out to just listen to the music. They could tell if the music was disharmonious. They knew that the people were not happy. So create beauty. That's the key. Just whatever you can do, create beauty. The more we create beauty, the more we're in harmony with nature, and the more we are basically fulfilling our mission on this earth in our own unique way. So those are the 7 keys to a healthy life and to developing our inner wisdom. It's nutrition, both physical nutrition and the nutrition that comes through our reading and through the media and so forth. And it's meditation and relationship and exercise and movement and nature and creativity. We can practice all of these, and maybe another time we can go into each one more in depth. Thank you very much, Barbara. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Will.
Wow,
Love
wonderful.
Amen.
Amen, my friend Janine says. Yeah, honestly, Will, that was terrific. And sounds like we'll have to talk about another date. I certainly want to keep being reminded and add to whatever our learning, our growth on the planet. So thank you so much. And so Will is going to be playing the closing song before the chat time after just a few short announcements. So I encourage you to stay if you want to hear some more beautiful music. Okay, so here we go with my schedule here of which okay, well, I know I have to make a few announcements. I have to tell you about what's coming at the church, and that would be okay, we got that. Oh, come to church next Sunday, and we'll have the sons and daughters of God, Patricia Holler, giving the talk, and should be wonderful. And then that's our Sunday where we are going to have fellowship and a potluck. So that's next Sunday at the center in Lower Lake. So continuing the next Zoom service will be Reverend Marjorie Brock giving that talk. Imagine that. And that was the one she had to cancel just a few days before because she had an accident. And so now Marjorie is returning, and she's been a Unity minister for many, many, many years. And Bill Barros will be there to do the music on that Zoom talk on July the 28th. Of course, you'll be reading more about that. So continuing on, just remember that donations are greatly appreciated. So mail your donations to Unity, P.O. Box 755, Lower Lake, California 95457. P.O. Box 755, Lower Lake 95457. Thank you, Janine. We appreciate it so much. And now, before our chat time, we'll play a closing song for us. Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will.
All right. Well, bless you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you so much, Barbara and Patricia, for arranging everything here today. I'd like to, I was just talking about creativity, and I guess one of the things that seems to go along with creativity for our closing is the idea of improvisation. We're really improvising our life, and I love improvisational theater, improvisational music, and so forth, art. Life is improvisation. So I don't have anything planned. I thought I would just let the spirit come through. So this is like our closing. Normally, quite often in Unity, we do the peace song, and that's a tradition. And traditions are wonderful too. But I think I'd like to just go ahead and play a piece and just dedicate this to each one of us finding our unique path of healthy living and of cultivating our inner wisdom in this earth school that is very challenging. There's lots of obstacles that are everywhere placed in front of us. From the time we're little kids, a lot of what we're told and taught is just not the way it is. So it's really up to us in our inner wisdom to discover and to live this adventure of a human life in our own unique way. So this is a piece of music where I'd like to just see what Spirit has and dedicate this to the healing of all of our relations and to celebrating our lives together on this beautiful earth. Enjoy.
Now, everyone.